Yo, what is going on, guys? It's the Communist Frog, or Sam here, and today I have another review video, but this is going to be a little bit different because it is for an entire game, not just a DLC. So, yeah, so it's going to be like a little bit more in-depth. But, anyways, I hope you enjoy, and leave some feedback if you like my reviews. So anyways, today I'm going to be reviewing the game Metro Last Light. It came out May 16th, so it's been out for almost a month. And yeah, so the game is like a horror-based first-person shooter, but there's also like a stealth part. Like the entire game is you're supposed to try and do it stealthy, but you can go out into all-out firefights and stuff. So the first part of the game I'm going to review is the campaign, because it's pretty much just a campaign-based game. So it doesn't have any multiplayer or anything, but I'll get to that later. So the best part about, well, not the best, but like one of the best parts about it is the graphics. The graphics in this game were amazing. They were very realistic, and even though they didn't load sometimes, like some things were kind of fuzzy, but once they loaded, it looked amazing. And another part of the graphics is the lighting. The lighting was done very well. It was, at parts, I had to turn up the gamma past the original one just because I couldn't really see anything, but it's even with the gamma really high. The only complaint I had was when you got injured, the screen kind of pixelated, or not, it wasn't exactly pixelated, it just didn't look as nice as when it was at the gamma you're supposed to have it at. But yeah, so everything else looked really good when the gamma was high, except for the menu. The menu was one part that I didn't like because it was so bright. But anyways, also another part is the cutscenes. The cutscenes made it seem a lot like a movie, and I know the developers try to do this because another thing is they didn't have an on-screen HUD or HUD, which is like your ammo count, your weapon, that sort of stuff. So it seemed more like you were actually there, and you didn't have just all this information on your screen. And then buttons would only come up when you looked at stuff. So, like, when you looked at a dead body, it would have the X button to pick up ammo and stuff, so that sort of thing. So the cutscenes helped make it look like a movie, and I'm not sure how everybody feels about this, but I thought, in my opinion, it was an amazing way of making a game because it just seemed more realistic and more fun to play. And also the movie part brought out the, I guess, storyline a lot. It helped you figure out what's going on. Okay, so next I'm going to go over what I thought about the controls. The controls were good, but I did have a few complaints because, like, I'm not sure if you could do this or not, but you have a watch on that tells you how much time you have left on your filter on the gas mask, and they either need to make it more obvious or they need to add a button for looking at your watch, because you couldn't really read the watch that well. You could just kind of see it, I guess, but it was hard to read, so they need to improve that. And then also, when you press Y, or no, you have to hold Y, it brings up an entire, kind of little menu screen for your inventory, and I think they need to make it so the entire game just completely pauses when you do that, because it just slowed everything down to extremely slow. So, I think that would be a good addition, but other than that, the controls are good, and they're pretty much the same as Call of Duty. So, next, the weapons. Well, the weapons were great in this game. They had a nice diversity because each one was good for different situations, and it was nice having multiple weapons so that you could have, because each weapon took a different type of ammo, or each weapon class, I guess you could say. All the snipers had the same ammo, and all of the shotguns had the same ammo, but overall, the weapons were nice because because you could carry 3 at a time, and it was just nice because if you had, an SMG, a shotgun, and a sniper rifle, each one would have different ammo, so you could have a lot more ammo than if you had 2 assault rifles. So that was good, and overall the weapons handled pretty well. They were pretty easy to fire. I do have to say the sensitivity was kind of hard to get used to, because I've used to been playing on 10 sensitivity in Call of Duty, and the sensitivity was really low, even when I turned it up all the way. But other than that, the weapons were really easy to aim. The recoil was a bit much, but it was realistic, and it wasn't so bad that it was, I didn't like it. Yeah. So the recoil was good, but hard to control. So if you fired in bursts, it was easy to control, and that was pretty realistic. The snipers were strong, and they were, like, most of the weapons, they didn't really injure enemies as much, so you had to use a ton of bullets just to kill one enemy, and this actually is kind of realistic to how the game has the storyline, because all of the ammo is used, or is, like, really poor quality, so it shouldn't do damage, like, that much damage, because it does give you the option to use your high-grade military rounds, and those, well, I think, actually would do really good damage. I didn't use them because they're also the currency in the game, and I wanted to buy new weapons and upgrade and stuff, so I never actually tried that out, but I'm pretty sure if you did use them, they would not be really worth it, but still might be helpful in boss fights. And so next, I'm going to go into boss fights. So the difference between Metro 2033, I think that was the first one, and this one is there's, I think, more boss fights. I'm not really sure. I didn't play the entire first Metro game, but I got halfway through it, I think, and there wasn't really any boss fights. And honestly, I think boss fights are really good for a game because they just kind of give you something to work for, and it's just really rewarding to defeat a boss because it just seems like such an amazing, like, victory, I guess. So that was really fun. I'd have to say the boss fights did have one problem, and that is there wasn't very much ammo. So on, I think, 2 of the bosses, I ended up having just to run around and stab him with my melee attack, and that took forever. It took me like half an hour to beat one boss fight because I just ran out of ammo. So I would have to say that they should have a little bit extra ammo in and around the boss fight arena, kind of, just so it doesn't take forever. But other than that, I would say the boss fights were fun and challenging enough that you actually had to pay attention and, like, really try, but not too hard that you just give up. So that was good. And then also another aspect is I loved how you could have 2 different endings. There's the bad ending and the good ending. I won't spoil either one, but the nice thing is about both that you do end up accomplishing the entire goal of the game. Just one's a little bit darker than the other one. But yeah, so next I'm going to go over the things that I thought stood out the most from this game. And that's probably, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, guys, but the storyline was amazing. I love the storyline. They did it really well. And as I said before, the movie aspect of the game made the storyline just that much better. And then also, I thought it was really cool that you could go into people's memories and thoughts and stuff. That helped just make it more fun of a game. And that was an interesting aspect that I liked. So now on to the dislikes. So my biggest dislike in this game was the fact that there was no multiplayer, because I just did not like, I don't know, I just don't like putting $60 down for a game and then just playing the campaign like once or twice at a maximum of maybe 20 hours and then just not playing the game again. So, and like I know you can buy the DLC, but I don't know, I just don't think that's worth it. So that was my major dislike. And then another thing that was kind of annoying was the characters walked extremely slow, and you had to let them go to places to progress, so you had to do some waiting around, but it was realistic because people don't just like teleport and stuff in real life and aren't able to run forever, so that was a little bit of a bad thing, but not too bad. It wasn't game breaking. So overall, I'd have to say this game is really fun, and I think it's a great game to play, but I don't really think it's worth $60. I think it would be, if they had a multiplayer, it would be easily worth $60. So if I was going to tell you, like, if you should buy or not, I would say you should go to any sort of video game rental place and rent it, because if you rent it for 1 or 2 days that you have some free time, you can probably beat the game. And yeah, so I don't think it's worth the buy, but if you do want to play it multiple times, like 4 or 5 times, you should buy it because it is a really nice game and I love the storyline. So, thanks for listening to my video, and hope you could like and subscribe, and stay classy.